Good afternoon and welcome to the fifth episode of MedLife Mike Talk. We are your hosts, Alec and Alex. We are here to discuss another heartbreaking loss of the New York Giants, falling 0-2 and the final score being 40 to 37. Alex, if you told me that Russell Wilson would throw over 450 yards, three touchdowns, and we would score 37 points, and we walked away with a loss. I don't know what to say because it is heartbreaking, is to say at least.
Yeah, I like I told you before we started this, I probably sat on the couch for at least probably 20 minutes and I was up the whole time. I was pacing. I, my heart was like at my stomach. I was like this like a good amount of times. Like, what are we doing? Uh yeah, I don't know, man. The amount of points that we put up and still ended up coming out with a loss. It's pretty heartbreaking, but also shows flashes of what potential the offense has and if they can keep that momentum going, but also fix the many mistakes that we're uh, doing, like the penalties on the like a lot of holding, uh, just these penalties that pretty much hurt our momentum and also as you can see you know pretty much we could have won the game if it wasn't for all these penalties in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And also I don't know how you felt, but uh I think it was the first fourth down that we went for it and we didn't come up with anything.
Yeah.
I would have took my three. I don't know how you feel about it, but now looking at it, if we would have done a field goal, probably could have been a different outcome, maybe not, but you got to take those points where they're, you know, when you have the chance. So I
Yeah.
don't know how you feel about it, but
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, that happened right after the opening half Prescott interception. Started off the third quarter with that. From our man Drew Phillips having a great second year. And but in regards of that, yeah, I mean at the time it's hard to say, it's always easy to say after the game and after the result, because if they won, we wouldn't have even talked about it, right? It's easy to talk about it now that they lost, be like, well, they should never have gone for that. But like you didn't know all of what happened in the last 5 minutes of that fourth quarter game in general was going to happen. Like regular sport teams, a regular football team should pull off a win with 24 seconds left after a walk-off touchdown from Neighbors. And as soon as I saw they had three timeouts left and the kicker that they have that can kick 70 yards, um, I knew the Giants are going to send this to overtime. I knew it immediately as soon as I saw 24 seconds. And just being a Giants fan, we are on the other side of history of four teams who have kicked last second 60 plus yard field goals in the NFL. And only four of them has happened to in the entire NFL. And Giants are every single one of those four. Am I surprised? No. Am I going to be surprised if it happens again? No. And the kickers that have done it to us, one of them is actually our kicker right now, Graham Gano in 2017 kicked a 63-yarder against us to walk off Carolina. And then we had Jake Elliott, the Eagles kicker, who kicked a 65-yarder, broke the NFL record. Guess who was that against? The Giants. And then we had the Vikings kicker who broke it for 65 yards. And that was 2 years ago. And then this year, as soon as he went up to kick the field goal, I knew it was over. If we didn't pull it off in the regular game, on the regular, I can't even talk, the regular, before it went to overtime, like if they didn't pull it off there, I knew they were going to lose in overtime some way, somehow. And boy, did they not pull it off in overtime because Russell Wilson balled out, like we discussed in the beginning.
yeah,
50 yards, three touchdowns. He was on fire. But to have a disaster of an ending of the last two drives that he had, or the last drive, to him wanting to pull the ball back from throwing it to Slane to ended up having a backyard pass rather than being an incomplete pass because it went behind the line. So it ended up being a backward pass and losing yardage from a 2nd and 2 to now being a 3rd and 13. So yeah, that changed a lot. And then you throw the duck interception that he threw, but Malik came out and said that it was just miscommunication between him and Russell. We'll never know the truth, but goddamn, fix that stuff, man. Because that interception was inexcusable on both ends. If it was on Malik or if it was on Wilson, you guys should have that communication up, fixed by now in regards of that. But yeah, just frustrating, heartbreaking loss. That's what the words we're going to use for this episode. Is just it's still very tough to swallow that we did not walk away with the win with Dallas.
I also would change like for the defense before we went into overtime. Don't play so soft. Bring the pressure because they should know that Aubrey is a good kicker and he has that leg. That I was pretty mad when they gave so much separation to the receivers that Dak just knew and he was hitting Ferguson and everything and they started moving up the yards and then once they got into like a perfect spot to hit that field goal,
Yeah.
he felt comfortable and
The writing was on the wall, like I said.
yeah.
It was writing on the wall. As soon as I saw the time and three timeouts left, I said, "Yeah, I'm not enjoying this." I had everybody texting me, non-Giants fans, like, "Oh my God!" Like flipping out. I was like, "I'm not even gonna flip out until the clock hits zero," and I didn't. I ended up flipping out in the bad way after the game because I knew they let this one go. Um, but yeah, talking about specifically, let's talk about Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator. Um,
Thoughts.
yeah, sucks is an understatement. He, so it's interesting on the last drive, specifically, right before overtime, to play such soft zone the way he did, to pull the safeties, the corners off, knowing you have the 1-2 punch, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And very frustrating to see how far both the safeties and the cornerbacks lined up off of all the receivers and the tight ends, which gave, Ferguson that catch in the middle at the 50 was able enough to kick the field goal to tie the game. Um, it sucks because throughout the game, Shane Bowen plays very soft man coverage throughout the entire game. A lot of people want to say that he plays a lot of like soft zone, which at the end of the game he did, which ended up us, costing us going to overtime. But he played a lot of man, but he plays very basic man coverage. Um, and it was getting pointed out a lot throughout the game from Greg Olson, who was commentating the game. And, Drew Phillips and they were pointing out Drew Phillips specifically several times throughout the game that he was turning his wrong shoulder a lot. He had a great game. It was more of an up and down game from him. He had more ups than downs, but the downs, weren't that great. CD beating him, George Pickens beating on the slant, which was able to get some chunk yards from that. And then he made some big plays in that game. But a lot of man coverage, and Drew was turning his wrong shoulder, which away from the safety because knowing the safety's behind him, he has that extra help. So he's able to cover the one end while the safety's on the other end. But he kept turning towards the safety and then he was getting beat and with no safety help because he wasn't turning the right way. So that was the thing that kept getting pointed out in the game. Shane Bowens, you have star players on this defense, star players from top to bottom. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, buddy. Like, he's got to do better for this. I
I'll be
mean,
more aggressive. Like they mentioned it too. The last week, you have Abdul Carter, you have Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon, and I'm pretty sure I think it was Greg Olson that mentioned it that all four of them were on the same uh snap, like 8% of the of snaps. Like you got these like star players, and we've seen what this defense can do when you bring the pressure.
yeah.
We've seen what pressure and what dominance like this defense can do. So like, they gotta Rasheem Bowen's gotta figure something out. Be more aggressive.
Yeah. And then another thing that I'm so tired of, and I know you probably noticed this too. We're still doing this cornerback switch up in the middle of the game. We're having Cordell Flott starting majority of the game, as he should, and he's been so much better than Deontay Banks,
So
a
good.
former first round pick for the New York Giants. And Banks constantly goes out there, costs us plays, and he still looks like he's having an effort issue, which is very frustrating to watch as a fan. But as a football player, why even putting him out there? Like, you're ruining the rhythm. Like, enough of trying to figure out who's the cornerback two here because you have Paulson Adebo as the cornerback one because Deontay Banks couldn't handle a cornerback one position. And now Deontay Banks can't even seem like he can even handle quarterback two position because he's holding, always giving up pass interference calls. It's just frustrating as a fan to see this as a defensive coordinator to constantly still try to test out to see if Cordell Flott or Deontay Banks. It's like keep one in the game, and if the one gets hurt, play the other one. It's that simple. Stop switching it up every other play and just having this test out like, oh, you play one drive, you play the other. Cordell Flott has more ups than downs in a game. So keep him in the game. Stop ruining the rhythm because you're taking him in and out, and then you're going to give up plays because you're constantly ruining maybe his confidence, which I don't think he has a confidence issue, but just as a player, it's like you start making good plays, and then it's like, oh, yeah, get out for a couple plays. And it's like,
Yeah, you ruined that momentum.
yeah, it makes no sense. So it's very frustrating. Like, I really hope that they just keep Cordell Flott on the field because again, when Deontay Banks was on the field, gave up a touchdown, not but it was an effort issue on the running touchdown. And he literally saw the running back run past him and he just didn't even care. And then they gave up the pass interference in the end zone to CeeDee Lamb. But luckily the penalties were um, uh,
Offset.
offset because of CeeDee doing the taunting towards him. But again, we gave up 14 penalties this game. 14 penalties for 160 yards. Inexcusable, inexcusable from top to bottom. And
And I
this,
think where we're gonna go with this now.
yeah. So exactly, we're gonna start with the one and only James Hudson. What
A disaster.
what a horrific, horrific performance on that first drive. The four penalties in a row, and then to come on the sideline and start yelling at the players and coaches when they're trying to calm him down. He's slamming his helmet down. He's yelling and cursing, going nuts. It's like, bro, you got no room to speak. You got no room to speak. You didn't perform. You were doing illegal things that were you were affecting the team and affecting the positive yardage we were making on that first drive, and ended up just being a field goal because you
The
can't control
momentum
yourself.
killed the momentum. That one pass to Wandale Robinson, man.
Yeah. And then he decides to tackle the the defense.
No, fucking what's it called? What do you karate chop?
Yeah, he whips the
Like,
blow to the head penalty.
like, what do we do? Like, what? You've been in the NFL for how long, and you should know the rules that you can't hit anyone in the back of the head, and you just because of frustration, you fucking do it, and then you look at what you're causing. Like, dude, once he had like all those penalties and I saw him still on the offensive line, I was screaming at my TV. I'm like, what are we doing? Why is he still out there?
Yeah.
Put in Marcus Mbo. Like what? And even Dable was pissed off. He said, want him out, and someone overrided him.
Yeah. He said he kept him in for the drive, and then obviously he was pulled for the rest of the game. And we had put in the rookie, Marcus Bowe, former fifth round pick from this year. Showed a lot of promise in the preseason. Stepped up big time this game, which I'm very impressed about. Obviously, he wasn't perfect, but it was
Fair.
what a confidence boost for the offensive line. Then all of a sudden, the offensive line started pass blocking. The run blocking is far from good. Um, that's another subject. But the pass blocking, obviously, Russell Wilson wouldn't be able to get the 450 yards if it wasn't for the offensive line blocking, and it was pretty solid. They held up their own to not a superior defensive line like Dallas used to have with, my obviously we all know about Micah Parsons leaving. But the Dallas defensive line is not the same, as it used to be. So I expected the Giants offensive line to hold their own for this game, which I'm glad they did. Now we're, going into next week, Sunday night football against the Chiefs. We're going against our former defensive coach who won two Super Bowls with us in 2007, 2011, and who's won multiple Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo. He's a heavy blitzer, and Russell Wilson does not do well with blitzes. It has shown statistically. Um, so I'm very curious to see how the Giants are going to handle this defensive line, Sunday night on a deflated Kansas City Chiefs, who are 0-2, also coming in our stadium for our first home opener of the year on Sunday Night Football. Um, it's going to be very interesting to see because, again, like I said, who expected the Chiefs to be 0-2? And I have the Chiefs. I have the Giants upsetting the Chiefs. I have them predicted upsetting the Chiefs.
What are you 2-0 now? I'm 0-2.
Yeah, yeah. So I have, like I said, I have the Giants upsetting the Chiefs here. That was my prediction here. So I'm still, still gonna stick with that for now. But we'll see. Well, I'm not. Well, I am sticking with it. I'm not gonna stick for it now. I'm sticking with it regardless. But I'm still confident. Again. But will the NFL actually let the Chiefs go 0-3? We'll see about that too. Like, all jokes aside. But um,
Yeah, we'll see what side the refs are on.
yeah, as I say, I don't know if the NFL will allow the Chiefs to go 0-3, so we'll see about this. But
I might not make it to the fourth quarter. We'll see.
NFL's not fixed, so we're not going to talk about that. But in general, just we'll see how the game goes on that aspect. The Giants did sign a new linebacker from the practice squad, per Adam Schefter. Neville Hewitt. He's 32 years old. He's played 48 games and he has a total of 499 tackles. He was a starter on the Texans for the last 4 years. He's up there in age, but we need linebacker help, especially
Yeah,
with Muasau being on concussion protocol now, and obviously McFadden being put on IR. Probably will come back at the end of the year if lucky. Don't really know. I know he's getting surgery and stuff, so it all depends. This foot surgery gets me nervous because we're witnessing right now the aftermath of a player of our team getting foot surgery, and that's Andrew Thomas. And he should be coming back this week. That's the ideal. A lot of the reporters are saying that he should be expected to make his debut finally on Sunday night, which would be great. Um, Better keep Hudson off that line or else. Um, so, just it's frustrating, man. But, I really want to talk about, to end this podcast too, just the gutsiness of two star players on this team that we saw on Sunday. And that was Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson is a lot of Giants fans are not a big fan of. I never really asked your opinion in regards of like just like what you think of Wan'Dale
oh,
as
I
a
love him.
football player.
Great player, very underrated. You can see what he does when you give him that ball. He plays with a lot of guts, passion, and he wants to do good for this team, and and he shows it on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's very underrated. That's a great word to use for him because, like I said, some Giants fans, don't like the way he's targeted so much sometimes, and he's one of the most targeted receivers on the Giants on third down specifically. If you can point out and just even watch throughout the game on third downs, he's usually targeted 90% of the time because he's quick. He's able to stop. But the one thing he needs to do improve is just knowing where the sticks are. He always catches the ball right before under the sticks and he's a feisty little guy. Russell Wilson actually described him today as like his like Tyler Lockett. And if you remember, Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett were unbreakable in their prime around that 2012, 2015 stage of the Seattle Seahawks. I definitely could see it. I've said that too. I definitely believe that he's like the his like I just forgot his name. I just said it.
Tyler Lockett.
Okay, yeah. So very, great to see, their connection really growing because Wilson highly talked about him a lot throughout this offseason. And I was very curious to see like if his hype, Wilson's hype, actually matched up to on the field hype. And it has, and this game has shown it. Yes, again, the Dallas defense is not the greatest, which is makes this loss so much more frustrating because should have beat this team. And it's so frustrating because I do believe that we are better than Dallas, roster wise and the future in general, which just makes it very frustrating on that end. And then talk about the top three receiver in the NFL in my book, not even just stats or just going off statistics. I believe that he has cemented that after the performance that he made this past Sunday. And that's the number one guy, Malik Neighbors. What a game, bro. 167 yards, two touchdowns, hands to the face, still caught it,
Yep.
and should have been a walk-off touchdown. And now they're using his sleep meme as a way to taunt him as like, again, Giants should have finished it out. 24 seconds. 24 seconds. Malik Neighbors should have had that walk-off touchdown. Game should have been over. That's that. But man, what a performance from Malik, man. This is what we wanted to see last year. And we saw a lot of intermediate routes from him and not a lot of breakout routes. And we know he could have. He just didn't have the right quarterback to do that. And now we have the moon ball, as we saw from Russell Wilson several times this game. And dude, what a performance from Malik Neighbors, man.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Gives me gives me Odell flashes, but in a different way because Malik is just is different from Odell, but
Yeah.
you know he's phenomenal.
Yeah. He gives me Jamar Chase vibes to the fullest. I mean, they went to the same college, same with Justin Jefferson. And a lot of people don't know, but Malik Neighbors was the one that broke all the records at LSU with those star receivers in the NFL now. Malik Neighbors hasn't even touched the surface of what he could be. And I think you got a good glimpse of what he can be in the NFL Sunday. And I am excited to see him continue to grow to be not only the top, top three receivers in the NFL, but to be the top. And to see former or see current NFL receivers making statements like, oh, ranking like the top five in the league and not even putting Malik Neighbors is just comical to me. Because some of these receivers don't stand in their own league with Malik on this, in the receiving category to me right now. And it just proved to me on Sunday. Malik is just light years ahead of just the overall player, the explosion, and to the leader that he really has shown to be too. And again, people want to try to push him out and say that he's not a leader. He really is shown to be a leader. He came to that sideline after scoring that walk-off touchdown, didn't want to be bothered, sat on the bench and told everybody just to calm down, relax. Game's not over yet. And bam, he was right. Game was not over, and we ended up walking away with an L, which very frustrating because again, this locker room is just known now, just so much losing. And they gotta walk away with the win Sunday, man. They got
They
to.
need this one. They gotta get this one.
And I was fearful of them starting 0-2 with, these two games. And I said this to you too. They needed to walk away 1-1, those first two games. I didn't expect 2-0. I mean, of course, that would have been great, but they needed to walk away 1-1 because now you're coming home with an angry Chiefs who are also 0-2. But the only thing is I'm hopeful about is the Chiefs might not have their two-star wide receivers. Well, they definitely won't have one, but they might not have the second one for their game. But we'll see what happens. Obviously that's something that we're going to keep close an eye out on before Sunday night. But again, like I said, I predicted the Giants are going to upset the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to be obviously a blowout or anything like that. No Giants game's ever a blowout. They make you stress, they make you lose your hair. Um, it's never a fun ride watching a Giants game. But that's what makes us fans so loyal.
Yep. And stressed.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode. We're gonna, like I said, we talked about the heartbreaking loss of the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants game. Now we're on to the next week against the Kansas City Chiefs, coming to our home opener, Sunday Night Football, 8 p.m. Be there or be square.
I'll be at the game.
It's gonna be a blast. It's going to be loud. It's gonna be a lot of Chiefs fans.
I'll either be happy, depressed, or I'll leave middle of the game, depending on what they fucking do. But all I know is that I'm nervous to go on Sunday, but it'll be fun still. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, no, it's going to be positive vibes. Just bring the positive vibes to the stadium. Like I said, I think they're going to upset here. And this is what I said to you, what, 3 weeks ago when we did the prediction of the schedule. Believe it, and it will happen. So until next week, after we review the Giants win, please like, please subscribe, please comment on our YouTube channel, MetLife Mike Talk. Your boys, Alec and Alex.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. As always, have a great night, guys.